beautiful Saturday morning, and I am delighted to welcome you to this edition of Fides Time on Fides Media, Fides Television. I am Ifi Aron Wokafo, and today is our happy time. We are grateful to God for a fantastic week and the grace to be here celebrating happily and saying thank you, Jesus, for the weekend and for the week. It's good to have you here. Kekime, how was your week? I hope it went well. So tell me how your week went in the comment section. Just sing in a comment section. Are there things you're worried about? You can also share your concerns. So when Kemelo around you, your neighborhood, you can also let us know. Let us do some thinking over them and see how we can find a way forward. Remember that on Fides Time, what we do is to chat the way forward for our society to foster sustainable development. That is why we always converge here on Saturdays. Now that we're getting started, and also share the live stream, like this live stream. Can you so that we will be energized to continue doing the great work. As usual, newspaper, that is Fides newspaper for the week. Interestingly, this is the 12th edition of Fides Time. That means that we've been doing this for the past 3 months. Congratulations to everyone who has been with us all this while, to the management of Fides led by Reverend Father Robert Anaboso and assisted by Father Constantine Okoli. Congratulations to everybody and also to you. But because you're here, we can continue to do this. Special thanks as well to the little young star, Olam Okafo, who ushered us into the show today. Thank you so much, Olamma. What beautiful. She's just 6 years old, and she's doing this now. I'm very happy to present her on today's edition of the program. I will be listening to more tunes coming from Olamma as the show progresses. And my guest is already seated, but before I introduce him, let us take a look at the cover page of Fides newspaper for today. We have the big headline there. Operation Ochapo, Anambra clamps down on child beggars. Syndicate. Anambra clamps down on child beggars and syndicates. That's on the front page of our newspaper for today. Find out more about that. And of course, that's a role that the Anambra State Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Welfare plays. And that ministry is led by the Honorable Commissioner, Mrs. Ifi Obinabo. Commend them for the great work that they are doing to save our children and to give them proper childhood. Also, we have Unizik Catholic Community welcomes Bishop Ezokafo. As you can see, the bishop is on a tour following his 40th priestly anniversary. He's on a tour. He's moving around, and the other time it was to the St. Joseph the Worker chaplaincy, and we also see that the bishop has also visited Unizik. Interesting. More strength to our bishop as he continues to make the rounds. Lest insecurity spoils Soludo's good work. That's inside Fides newspaper for the week. We see that the Fides has been running a series on insecurity matters in Anambra, in Nigeria for the past weeks. So you might want to catch up on that. That's a developing story. So please look at that story and make up your mind about what you can do also to assist the government towards assuring security over time. We all have a role to play if our society is going to be safe eventually. All right, so these are the stories we have on the front page of the Fides for the week. Please grab a copy and find out more. All right, so just in case you're just joining, please put your location in the comment section. Bo nke metụta gị ma nke ịchọ itinye ọnụ na ya biko denye na comment section. And of course, the good thing about today's edition is that you can also tell us who you want to say hi to. You can give a shout out to your friends, your loved ones. At some point during the show, we'll actually read out the messages that are shout outs from our comment section. So do not miss this opportunity to say hi to your loved ones right here on Fides Time, showing on Fides Media, Fides Television. So now I'm joined by an interesting person. Actually, when I saw him, I was conflicted. I didn't quite know what to think. And I thought that this interesting person deserves to be on Fides Time. Join me as I make welcome a man who is an electrician and also a comedian. And he is in Oka, Anambra State. Moses Aleke Kekime. Oh, happy to see you this morning. Ena Jolly. How was your week?
I'm fine.
Oh, okay.
My week is very fine.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So Moses, first of all, Iga Kwakenelani Onye Bo, your name and ABC. You know, any fundamental information, basic information I was saying where Makage.
Yes. Okay. Afambo Aleke Moses. Ishimna, Amboy State. Maybe it's Anambra State.
Okay. Precisely, Oka.
Yes, by Oka.
All right. Kedifinalo.
When I automobile electrician.
Automobile electrician.
Yes.
Kedu ihe ọpụta maka ndị na-aghọtara ihe automobile electrician na-eme bakena anyị?
Automobile electrician bụ ọpụta bụ onye na-arụ motor wiring under motor wiring.
Motor wiring. Ya bụ ụgbọala.
Ụgbọala.
Etu nwe ụlọ dị ịma na enwe wiring a na-etinye n'ụlọ ka ọkụ wee dị n'ụlọ. So ihe na-akọwa bụ na nke gị bụ itinye waya na moto ka ọkụ wee dị na
moto.
Okay. Kemgbe ibido ọrụ a, and how long have you been doing it?
Okay. Ọrụ a m na-arụ na ebido m ya na 2014.
So you've been an automobile electrician for 10 years.
Yes.
So this is your 10th year.
Yes.
Yeah, mekwa anniversary, 10th anniversary.
I'm a
Wow.
I'm a
Okay.
Yes.
But the interesting thing about him, you know, I got referred to him to work for me. And I got that. I became fear. As an electrician, you know, or this sharp, or this, a sharp guy. I decided that I was going to get to know more about Moses. So Moses, what can I know? Apart from your work as an electrician, because in office Moses offer a regular mechanic workshop. The electrical parts, and I dare say that I've experienced his work. So opuramo wadvat mana nkolocha anama afoloma akia. You know, so what can I, apart from the electrician job, onweli hustle also in
Okay, yes. Only hustle I'm a comedian.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm into a comedian. That two things we cannot go from now. We go the electrician and comedian.
Okay,
Yes.
electrician, comedian.
Yes.
So, just to say, you know,
What can say about me now? If I can queen, if I am going to be able to you open out interested, you open out some come give me man can't you take a meeting?
Okay.
Yeah, video or just the monarch.
Okay, all begin to read your body.
Yes.
Can we discover name where this flair for comedy?
Okay. We discovered by last 2 years ago.
Okay.
Come notice na comedian doing my.
On mother waggy kogi jiakai when notice.
But what mother go? I'm not one of Katazi my mind and I Katazi those or one kind experience at least. So I'm not Katazi Pulus way no way at least 9 maybe by small by myself. No use the voice this thing and then make it go do some of them. You're not Katazi no way the need people to off now.
Wow.
So after that I show video.
Go the comedy in me.
Okay.
What type or just even with different comedy and we go types and
Yes.
manifestation. So kedu ụdị ụfọdụ na-eme skit, ụfọdụ na-eme stage comedy, ụfọdụ na-eme
Okay. Nwa ana m into
skit, okay.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. So nwere ike ime comedy as na mbụ big man onye abụrụkwa man. Mụnwa na like ibukarị yes na abụ big man ebe ọbụla na-eme comedy. Ọ bụrụkwa na mbụ big man ahụ but nna like ime.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm into that big man something. And the second one is failure. Which I could fail.
Okay, the man who claim no because
Yeah.
I saw one of your videos.
Yeah.
Every see one lady no give me moto ni na that street. Mgbe onye nwezi moto pụta eyobazi abiko. You know, so I saw that particular one. All right, so comedian nwe na-eme onwe ka o si wee affect your life. Onyebego gị ego.
Okay. Comedy a kebiro kunye m ego. Nka na I contribute at least. Go when you want to go, can you roll a bit of when you want to go? Nah, I yon the mother guy, video where they follow my page and do not share my videos. So you're going to follow now watching that. This I want the benefit of that in our
Okay, what can I page you because a lot of people watching now may just want to go and see what your page looks like.
Okay, page you after page you M Comedian Valentine.
Okay.
M Comedian Valentine.
M Comedian Valentine. Can
Yes.
page you get it on a Facebook, on a Instagram?
Yes, on Facebook, on TikTok.
So on your pinara at M Comedian Valentine, they will see your skits.
Yes.
Or when they name in a workshop sometimes.
Yes, sometimes I'm like on a workshop because ordinary on space even and depend eventually art. Or the art in the way nanga the issue of workshop things. Non a shop women, even some comedy and workshop.
Okay. Wow. All right. So, kita no one a lot of people na Oluwadero na Nigeria. No Oluwadero. Kedu ihe nwere ikwu ọ na-adịghị ka ọ na Oluwadero really? Because onye kpara aka ọ sị na ọ gụchaga akwụkwọ na ọ bụ certificate ya agayali mana ọ fụrụ ọlụ. Kedu ihe iche na nke a?
Okay. Nigeria anyị nọ like this bụ na ọrụ adọrọ bụ ihe mere onwe gị. Ọrụ bụ ihe ga-eji aka gị. Afọdụ m na yes, ọrụ adọrọ bụ ọrụ adọrọ but m believe na ibido plan nwe gị from beginning. Wee nwete dị ọrụ anyị okwu. Ọrụ abụrụ fọs na mọt na ga-enyegodo gị ị ga-anwụgodo nke ijigodo aka godo nke gị nwa pefọm n'aka onwe gị before the anaghịzi ndụ na-enye ọrụ ma nye anyị ụkọchukwu ka o mere ndị ọbụla anyị ga-efọ ọrụ adọrọ ụmụ anyị nwere ọrụ nwe bụ na amụrụ m ọrụ amụ some people nọ na into ọrụ oyibo some people nọkwa n'intu ọrụ oyibo a wee nwekwara ibe a na-arụ n'ime ọrụ oyibo a so ihe na suggestion na-enye ebe a bụ na onye ọbụla na-eme ihe ọbụla ọ na-eme ọ ga-ala ka o nwere nwe n'otu ọ ga-ajoin this oshi side ochikwe side a ọ bụ na ọ ka machọrọ na side obido na side a wee obido ekpere ọbụla m ga-ekpe bụ na ihe ọbụla onye ọbụla ga-eme ga na-agazi
Daalụ rinne. So ihe na-akọwa bụ na ọ bụrụ na ọ dịrọ compulsory na mmadụ ya eje school wee mụta ihe nwa ọ ga-alụ na gị nwa jelu mụọ ihe na-alụ amụ mana amalụ m na ụfọdụ oge ndị nwa jee ịmụ ọlụ ọ dị ha ka ndị gụlụ akwụkwọ aka ha mma ọ na-anọkata dị gị ka maybe na ndị gụlụ akwụkwọ ka gị mma. Do you ever feel that way?
I believe for them na ndụ gara akwụkwọ ka mma ndị ọsọ weta na-eri isi wee mebe dị ka ọ ga-adị dị n'eri na ịpụla anyị n'onwe gị ọfụma na ọrụ ọbụla ị na-arụ ị ga-enwetakwa ibe adụkwa na ebe a ndụ gara akwụkwọ nọ ihe nweta bụ na ọrụ onye ọbụla na-arụ ya jishi ike na ya na ọ ga-abalị ya ebe ahụ nwere ebe ọbụla ị nọ wee na-arụ ọrụ ọbụla ị na dipendị ọrụ ọbụla ị na-arụ ịpụla anyị n'onwe gị ọfụma ihe ọbụla ị ga-emebe a ga-agaziri gị elu ochukwu wee gaziri ndị ọzọ ahụ gara akwụkwọ
mana eziokwu. So kedu advice ị na-enye ndị nenele anyị tata ịgwakwafa maka your handles maka ndị chi nene M Comedian Valentine?
Okay, advice m na-enye ndị nenele anyị tata bụ na asị m na dịka anyị si wee kwuo before na ọ bụ na oke nwere ihe ọ bụla ị na-arụ ma ọ bụ na o nwere ebe ị na-arụ biko ayọ nna ya bụ ka ọnwụkwa na mgbe wa nakọta wofu uche na ya ma ọ bụ feluo iwe ahụ filie na ihe a ma nwee gem ị ga-enweta nne iji shike na ya na mmọchị ọbụla ọ nwere ike bụ na ọ ga-abụ ndị niile na-enyekwara anyị tata a sị m na ana m ekwukwenu na ebe ọ bụla ị nọ na ọ ga-adịrị gị na mma dịka isi na tata na ihe ọ bụla mere gị gị nwa na-enene m rapụla akụ onye ọzọ ga-echiwe nenekwe gị na anyị tinye ọ bụla ị ga-eme ka ihe ọ bụla anyị bịa n'obodo anyị nọ n'ụwa bụ ka o wee dịrị onye ọbụla na mma sị na ọkụ okwu a ga na-ekwu na ọ ga-adịrị onye ọbụla na mma dịrị nwoke ma nwaanyị ele a na-eme komedi a na-eme naanị ana m eme ihe ke nwere ego ọbụla ọ na-akwụ m bọd nwe hope na echi niile na ọ ga-adị mma so ọkwa hope a ka m kwa ka onye ọbụla na-ene m tata nwekwe na echi niile onye ọbụla mere ihe ọbụla ọ na-eme o nwere mgbe ọ tara ahụhụ na ya bifọ wee nweta ihe ọbụla ọ na-achọ so na-ele ahụ ka m nwee hope anụ ole aka ị ga-enwekwa hope gị nwa na ọ ga-adịkwara gị ị ga-enwetakwa anyị na-achọ egifekwa na ọ
Do not give up. Do not give up. Thank you so much, Moses Aleke, for the charge. For ihe niile ịgwala anyị tata. Amaala m na o nwee ndị chọọ ikene. Maybe your friends, ma na-enene kịta ma ndị ọlụ gị ma your customers. O nwee ndị inwe ike ịkpọgasị afa maka na tata anyị na-eme shout out. N'otu aka, ọ bụrụ na ị chọọ ka ime shout out today on Fides Time, biko denye na your comment section gwa anyị afọ onye ahụ ị na-achọ ikene tata na Fides Time. Just tinye afọ onye ahụ na ihe what you're wishing them. Right there in the comment section. But Moses will have to go first. Biko gwa anyị. Anybody you want to shout out to?
Achọrọ m ikele many people.
Just to follow, just a few.
Achọrọ m ikele some people. Achọrọ m ikele nwanne m nwoke a na-akpọ Sam 101.
Okay.
Onye ahụ kwa my brother bụ akwa komedi akwa so asị m na ọ na-agba mbọ ọ dịrị ịbịa onye dị otu anyị wee nọrọ wee n'ite afụgo omume eche nke o megide oge eche wee na-emekọ ndị mmadụ so asị m na ọ ga-adịrị Sam 101 kwa na nna ekelekwe maka executive kwa nwanne m nwoke ka ọ bụ na ọ ndị a na-akpachara anyị mbọ niile ahụ ọ na-afụgo m elu ochie put interest ma yes na n'ihe ọbụla anyị na-eme na do ya mma ọ na-amasị ya si na ele a na-ekele ndị a niile na-ekele me many of them ma kpọrọ afọ ebe a na ana m ekele ndị niile full of my page ma ndị niile na-enye m advice because everything is matter of advice. Some people ọnwụ nke bụ ihe m advice like this njikwu ya wee kachakwa for one or two so ka nkele onye ọbụla na-follow up my page si na ọ ga-adịrị onye ọbụla na mma.
Amen. Thank you so much, Moses. Ebino Bona, Fides Television, Fides Media, and this is Fides Time. We've had comedian Valentine, Moses Aleke, an automobile electrician and comedian. He has told us what motivates him and how he decided to add comedy, which he hasn't monetized yet, to his hustle. In as much as he does his work as an electrician, he's still able to do comedy by the side, and he is very optimistic. Thank you so much, Moses. Ifeigwala Inotutu is such a motivation. I hope that a lot of us will begin to find out other things we can do beyond the normal call of duty. All right, now this show, Fides Time, is our convergence point to work together for the development of Awka, Anambra in general. Any issue you want us to bring to the table, or if you want to feature on Fides Time, please, there is a scroll, there is a number running across your screen. You can let us know in the comment section, and we will definitely raise that issue or invite you to be part of Fides Time. Remember as well that you can place your adverts. You can also sponsor and partner with us here for Fides Time to continue every Saturday. All you need to do is to also reach out to us. You can message us on the WhatsApp number or via email. It's fidestime247@gmail.com. We're still expecting more shout-outs, because at some point we'll have the shout-out segment on the program. We are in the last lap of today's edition of Fides Time, coming to you on Fides Media, Fides Television. My name is Ife Arono Okafo. I'm joined by a young Nigerian who is a mentor to lots of young persons. He is a highly cerebral young man who has done a lot in terms of youth empowerment, propelling young people to do more and to maximize their potential. So today he will be talking to us and unveiling different aspects of what empowerment means to the Nigerian youth today. We'll be talking about empowering the youth for sustainable development, and I'm joined by the Managing Director, Founder Institute Lagos, and co-founder, Executive Director, the Pivot Africa. Barrister Ifedi Ralph Eze. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ife.
Kekime. Wow, happy to have you.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for those kind words.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so I said a few things about you. Manon Wendy Kagacho Kahagota, what you do, maybe at Founders Institute, and a mix of what the Pivot does, just to give us a sense of what you do on a day.
Okay, thank you, Ife. Sometimes I struggle to talk about myself, but yeah. So my background is in law. I'm a lawyer,
okay.
But I've spent the better part of my career working in entrepreneurship development, which is basically, helping entrepreneurs to build sustainable businesses. Which is what led us to launching the Founder Institute program, which is an accelerator program for tech-enabled startups that supports them with, access to mentorship and to a structured process to building their businesses. We also do a lot of work around helping MSMEs, right? Not just tech entrepreneurs through the impact-driven entrepreneurship advancement Africa organization that we also run. And the Pivot is really our attempt at contributing our little quota to community development, because everywhere you turn, you hear people talking about all that's going on with the country, all that is wrong with the country, and particularly for Aiwabundi Igbo, the Southeast. And we think that we can't just continue sitting around and twiddling our fingers and keep complaining. At some point, we have to move beyond fault finding to fault fixing, and trying to find solutions and taking responsibility, and not just outsourcing all of the responsibility for the change that we want to see to the government or to anybody, to our leaders, whoever we think leaders are. At some point, we also have to take personal responsibility, and that's what the Pivot is our own approach, our own attempt at taking responsibility and creating a platform to catalyze conversation so that all of us can come together across all the various sectors, private sector, public sector, development, everybody, entrepreneurs. Let's sit down and look at our trajectory and ask ourselves if this is the best of us or that we can do better.
Okay, we'll still talk more about the Pivot as we progress on the program today. Chetani faina ban nkata makiabo equality organirundi ntorobia maka mmepe torato n'obodo anyị. We're talking about the topic, the theme of the International Youth Day that was observed some days ago on the 12th of August. The theme was, and it's still, because we are still having conversations around it, from clicks to progress, youth digital pathways for sustainable development. And this observance by the United Nations, we know, underscores the need to improve digital inclusion and also highlights the imperative of digital innovation towards addressing emerging global challenges. Now, we saw the End Bad Governance protests, that raged across the country, the hunger protest as well. And it became urgent to effectively empower the youth if we're serious really about achieving a sustainable development. Now, this climate of uncertainty, despondency in Nigeria, at the point, what came to your mind really? Did you ever consider leaving the country, even while that was happening? How did you feel? How did it rub off on you?
Okay, so to be honest, I don't think there will ever be a time I will consider leaving the country, you know, as an economic migrant, as it were. You know, the Japa thing. Yeah, I don't think, and then, you know, that does not mean that it's because everything is okay for me, right? But it's just the fact that when I think about myself and my existence as a person, I cannot figure out, you know, I can't see myself living anywhere else outside of the country, you know. But that's speaking for myself. I have a lot of friends who have left, and quite a number of them consider me crazy, like insane, to not have, you know, to not have Japan. But I do think that Nigeria is a very promising country, and that if we do the right things, I may have Wasaleme and not just expecting Konyan cause or may hope Wasaleme. I believe that the biggest challenge we have in this country is that we outsource responsibility. You know, everybody knows what somebody else should do, but nobody knows what they should do to fix the country. And I think that if we start, you know, if we start being more introspective and looking inwards, you know, and ask ourselves, what can I do to change things in my own little corner? Or all those little drops of taking responsibility that eventually balloons. And because the truth is that it's culture. Okay. If we create a culture of responsibility as a people, it will be very difficult for political leadership, business leadership, or whatever to be corrupt, because the culture of the people cannot sustain that culture of corruption at the top. But because inherently we are also not, you know, when we point one finger at the other person, four is pointing at us, it becomes difficult for us to achieve that national renaissance that we want to see.
When you talk about a culture of responsibility, I would like for you to address whether we're talking about saying, oh, fine, we don't want people who are of a certain age, you know, we want people who are older to kind of take the back seat, and now we're focusing more on young people so that you can start embedding into curriculum certain norms, certain values. Do you think that it's really about starting with the young people and having them take over completely, even nationally, having a young president?
So, you know, a lot of times we bandy this whole young people thing as if it's a silver bullet that will solve our problems. But if you think about it, look around you. The young people that you see today, do they inspire any hope in you? Right? I don't think that responsibility or integrity is a function of age.
Okay.
You know, if anything at all, I believe that the older people grow, you know, and because of experiences in life that kind of tempers our judgments, our worldviews, that the older people grow, the more likely they are to become more responsible. But again, that's not, you know, it's neither here nor there. My point is that responsibility, integrity, morality, and any of the virtues that we want to talk about has nothing to do with age, right? So if we say we want to phase out all the old people and bring in young people, there's a plank of, you know, there's a plank of that argument that might make sense, because young people are more, they are more attuned to the trends. They understand where the world is going. They understand some of the, technological advancements and digital innovations, and how that impacts, society, and how that can also be infused into government to be able to create a more effective and, but, outside of that, am I wrong that it's about age? Now, if we have younger people, then that will be a silver bullet that will solve all of our problems in Nigeria. I don't think the conversation is really about age. But just before anybody roasts me, I am a firm believer in the young people. I am a young people myself. A young person, But I think that we have to elevate the conversation beyond just, you know, putting our age out there as. We also have to demonstrate that we are capable and that if this thing is put in our hands, that we're not going to wreck it. Yes.
Well, coming from Barrister Ifedi Rao as a Managing Director, Founder Institute Lagos, and co-founder and Executive Director of the Field Africa. We talked about, I mentioned earlier, from tweets to progress, use digital pathways for sustainable development. And now, I'm thinking, the moment you heard that theme the first time, what struck you?
Okay, you know, whenever I think about the young people and our participation in the digital economy generally, I think, especially for African youths, I think it's a double-edged sword, right? Because technology can be a force for it. The technology in itself is neutral, is amoral. You know, what technology then becomes depends on whose hands it gets into, right? So it can be a force for good, it can also be a force for bad. It can be a force for personal development and, you know, something that anyone who is serious-minded can leverage to drive their personal career, advancement, business, and all of that. But it can also become, because you see, in my work, I interface with a lot of young people, especially, you know, on the angle of social impact projects that we do. And we have a lot of young people who have access to digital technology, but their use of digital technology is completely self-sabotage. If they are not on porn sites, they are betting. If they are not betting, they are on gossip sites. If they are not on gossip sites, you know, they're just one place or the other. And they are consuming money, they are consuming data, they are consuming time, you know, engaging in stuff that will not drive their personal career and life advancement. So when I think about that thing, I'm asking myself, from clicks to progress, how does, again, you know, that ties to, you know, what we are talking about, responsibility again. Because, I mean, the internet has democratized access to information, access to knowledge for every single one of us. But the responsibility to now transition from click to progress is a personal responsibility, right? And in as much as there are certain enablers that we expect that, you know, leadership, whether it's political and all of that, will create to make it easier for us. At the end of the day, it is our responsibility to engage what is available to us and be able to move ourselves from the place where we are, you know, to the place where we're using technology to drive our personal progress. Because, Bonnie, you know, and, you know, it's very important because sometimes when you look at a theme like that, you know, the natural thing for anybody to think is community progress. Young people, how can young people? But really, I can't give what I don't have. The most I can do is what I have done for myself. So if I have seen how to leverage technology to drive my personal progress, to contribute to the common good, to drive to the, you know, to move myself from point one or from point A to point B, then it becomes even easier to start thinking about how to use that, you know, how to expand that good that I have seen in technology so that it can also benefit the rest of the people and the society.
Okay. So we should begin to be more responsible and to personalize these things so that we can measure them and then also begin to then see, oh, how can I then impact people around me and shine forth? Look around in Anambra. Of course, you play in the tech space. What can you say? Do you think there's this renaissance? Just yesterday, I was the event anchor at an event hosted by the federal government through the Ministry of Information and Digital Economy. The 3 MTT, that's 3 million tech talent, at IDK Learning Center. So now we have lots of young people, and there were lots of tech courses that they have to take. Do you think, there's also the Solution Innovation District, and Anambra State also has an ICT agency. Where is all of this taking us?
Well, so you said it already. You talked about renaissance. I think we're coming of age digitally, and it's a gradual journey. But I'm glad that the journey has started, and the current administration, starting from the last administration actually, because the ICT agency was created in the last administration, and we're glad to see that this current administration sustained that and then also created the Solution Innovation District that is doing a lot in terms of capacity building and empowering the young people with digital skills. My own personal hope is that at some point, that we are going to get a full-blown Ministry of Information and Communication Technology and Digital Economy, as is obtainable in most states. I know a couple of states in the Southeast are also moving in that direction. Some have already created, we're hoping that we'll get there, because the truth is that there's a lot of opportunity within the digital economy, digital space, but it requires some level of retooling and capacity building for the young people to be able to access that. And if the more attention we pay to this, the more we are able to make the best out of the digital economy. And of course, just about 3 days ago, we had an event in partnership with SMIDA in my office, where we were trying to help a lot of MSME owners to leverage technology to drive their business. Because you see a lot of people leaving money on the table just because they don't know that they can optimize a lot of business processes, with technology. And I believe that the more we have interventions from government, from private sector, and from development sector, targeted at this space and opening up this space and making it more accessible, making it more affordable for young people. I want to see a situation where we have tech hubs embedded in all the tertiary institutions, scattered across the states, and, see a lot of activity going on, young people learning skills from software engineering to robotics to AI engineering and all of that. The truth is that Anambra State is very well positioned to become a net talent exporter, right? If we do the right things. I think that the future is bright in that regard. Yeah.
Okay, so I am also optimistic that the future is bright. So I wanted to ask what you think empowerment means to the average young Nigerian today. Knowing you and what you do, I would have thought that you would say tech straight away. But I want to leave it to you to see if there is anything else, because I know people are differently gifted. So what is empowerment today?
A very tough one. And I'll say very tough one because empowerment will mean different things to different people depending on where they are in their journey, But I would say from my experience that what do I need to plant one step in front of the other? What resources do I need? What knowledge do I need? What exposure do I need? Because, a lot of times when we talk empowerment, youth empowerment, everybody thinks about doling out cash to young people, right? But I think that cash is the least. As a matter of fact, when I talk about capital, especially in conversations with young people who are trying to start business, they will always complain that they don't have capital and, it's a problem. I usually say that in my journey, I've identified 3 types of capital. One is knowledge capital.
Okay.
And, knowledge capital has to do with what you know, what you have learned by practice, by use, by applying yourself to solving problems, right? And moving on from knowledge capital, you have network or social capital, which is in the course of applying yourself to problems and trying to provide solutions, you begin to unlock relationships that are very meaningful and that will move the needle for you in your journey in life. And then last, and I'm saying this in the order that I've seen it, work, the last will be financial capital. Now, the problem a lot of people have is that they tend to put the last first. So they focus on financial capital and they're asking them, they're always talking about, I don't have money, nobody. So when we talk about empowerment, they are thinking, but really, when people sort the first two, there's hardly anybody with the right knowledge and the right network that will struggle to find financial capital for anything that they want to do, right? So if you ask me, empowerment starts with creating opportunities, whether this is, a third party creating that opportunity for me, or myself intentionally seeking and applying myself to opportunities that help me to expand my capacity, to build my skill sets, to build my knowledge, my knowledge base. Of course, I always say that we grow by either, by the combination of experience and exposure. Now, experience is usually things that happen, we didn't have a hand in it, and it just happened, but somehow we learn from it, it helps us to grow. But there's also exposure, which is where I'm being intentional about the kind of spaces I will put myself into, the kind of things I want to do, the kind of, opportunities I want to access, right? Now, the combination of experience and exposure helps you to build the first two. And as you increase your knowledge capital and your network capital, the last one naturally, will follow. So, in a nutshell, I'm saying that if you ask me what exactly is empowerment, or what does empowerment mean to me, it's creating opportunities for young people to be able to expand their knowledge and expand their network.
And that brings me to something that will happen sometime this year, towards the end of the year. It's called the pivot. So how does the pivot play into the empowerment matrix for Nigerian youth at this point in time?
Yeah, thank you. So, so first, what we're trying to do, like I mentioned earlier, we're trying to catalyze conversation. Because the thing about conversations is that conversation opens up a pathway for people to reflect, for people to think. That diversity of opinion, perspectives, worldviews, that all is enmeshed into a conversation. It has a way of helping us see certain areas that we are blindsided. Some of the most significant career moves that I have made in my own journey came from insightful conversations that I have had with people in events, certain platforms where I find myself and, have those conversations, right? And that's what we're trying to do with the Pivot Conference, so that these conversations can then lead people to a point where they are maybe dissatisfied with their current status, dissatisfied with the environment, and they begin to ask themselves questions about what they can do to drive themselves forward. Now, apart from the Pivot Conference, we also have the Pivot Challenge, which we just launched this year. And the Pivot Challenge is, just like I said, our own approach, our own attempt at creating an opportunity for young people who are already taking responsibility to have access to the resources that they need to be able to build sustainably and scale whatever they are doing. So we opened up applications asking young people who have change projects across the Southeast to apply. And our goal is that we will select those of them who have some level of traction and demonstrate seriousness. And then we'll put them into a boot camp, a 3 weeks of intensive mentoring, intensive training, expose them to certain aspects of organizational building, help them with things like access to markets, help them to sort out regulatory compliance, and generally just help them to, tighten all the knots and bolts that they need to tighten in what they are doing, so that they are positioned to be able to make greater impact, in the society. And at the end of the boot camp, there's going to be a pitch competition where the best of them will then emerge and go on to pitch on the stage of the Pivot Conference, which will happen on the 1st of October. And those who are going to pitch will be rewarded with cash prizes, and then a 1-year-long mentorship where we've identified a lot, we've been able to get a lot of professionals who have committed to hold their hands and guide them through the journey of helping them to, put together and build structure to what they are doing for the next 1 year. And, I believe that in this way we are just contributing our tiny efforts, and we're playing our part in empowering the young people.
And in wrapping up, I'm really very excited about what you said now about the Pivot Challenge, which will lead us into the Pivot Conference proper. How are young people embracing the challenge? Would you say that they're coming through, or are you having to prod and force, and then for them to even come in to be part of it?
So interestingly, they're embracing it. Because we launched the challenge, and for me, I'm very big on calibrating and measuring, right? So when we started, I said to the team, we're going to have to go this organically. So we didn't spend a dime on advertising, on publicity. We just put it out there on social media and in other spaces that this opportunity is there. And interestingly, we've had over 150 young people apply for the Pivot Challenge. Now, beyond the fact that, we see that a lot of people applied, for me personally, it gives me hope. Because what that means is that we have this number of young people who are doing stuff, but maybe, just maybe, they've not found the right, platforms that can help them. And we're just hoping that somehow, unfortunately, as the pivot, there's this very little that we can do. There's 150 young people who have applied, and we've been going through the application. Some very beautiful and, interesting things that young people are doing all over the Southeast.
Wow.
Unfortunately, we can't help 150 of them.
Okay, so every one of them is within the Southeast.
Within the Southeast.
That's impressive.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, so it gives me hope, but at the same time, it kind of helps me to see the enormity of the work that is cut out for us to do. Everybody who has taken responsibility, that's the work that we have to do. And, recognizing that we cannot even do it alone, as the pivot, we're also extending our, hand of fellowship. We've been having meetings, having conversations, and we're saying, look at this. This in itself is proof that young people are willing to take responsibility, but somebody has to help them. And, it's my hope that somehow we're able to help, that we're able to find the right kind of partnerships that help us to extend the support that we are giving to more people than just the number that we have in the applications.
So just in case somebody is watching and is wondering, oh, this is laudable, this is an initiative they want to be part of, and would like to partner, sponsor, or just be part of the team, or possibly somebody who wants to get details and follow what you're doing at the Pivot, how can they be in contact?
Well, so one, you can log on to our website, www.thepivot.ng. That's THEPIVOT.ng. www.thepivot.ng. If you get onto the website, on the contact us page, you can fill a form, with just a very short form, and we'll be in touch. Or you can send us an email at hello@thepivot.ng. Hello, that's HELLO, @thepivot.ng. And we will definitely be in touch. We are looking for, we're looking forward to hearing from everyone, whether you want to support us or you want to be supported. We want to create an ecosystem where each one helps one.
Well, that means that everybody will definitely find a place, whether you want support or you want to support.
Absolutely.
Please reach out to the Pivot and be part of the change that you want to see. Thank you so much, Barrister Ifedi Ralph Eze, for being here on Fides Time today. I definitely hope to interview you again before the 1st of October, your big day. I mean, our big day, because the pivot is about all of us.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
and it's going to happen. Just give us a peep into the location, maybe not the exact place now,
Yeah, it's happening in Oka.
in Oka,
Yes.
Anambra State.
Anambra State.
So if you're anywhere in Nigeria, you can definitely find your way to Oka and have this time of your life. It's going to be transformative.
Yes,
And
and even if you're not in Anambra but you really want to join, just stay tuned, across all social media handles where the Pivot NG, so will be public because we're going to live stream as well.
Perfect.
So if you're not able to join physically, you can join virtually.
Thank you so much for that proviso. So just in case you were wondering, oh, how do I travel? Do not worry, the Pivot has you covered. So you can just join the virtual audience and also have the same, something really similar to the physical experience. I've been speaking to the Managing Director, Founder, Institute Lagos, and Co-Founder, Executive Director, the Pivot Africa, Barrister Ifedi Ralph Eze. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
And I wish you a lovely weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you so much. Thank you as well to everyone who joined us this morning on Fides Time. If you're watching or you just joined us or you joined us midway, kindly tell us where you're watching from. We would like to know your location and also share this live stream. You can contribute to the conversation by writing your suggestion, contribution, or question in the comment section. We'll definitely have our guests take a look at the comment section and even provide answers to your queries. We're celebrating 3 months of doing this on Fides Time. And special thanks to everybody who's been part of this. Father Robert and also Father Constantine Okuli. That's the director and the deputy director of Fides newspaper, for being great supporters of this initiative and for piloting this so far. For advert placement, sponsorship and partnership at affordable rates, please message us on the number running across your screen on WhatsApp. Our email is fidestime247@gmail.com. A huge discount awaits you. Please do not miss this opportunity to feature on Fides Time as a guest or talented performance artist. You can message us on WhatsApp on the same number running across your screen, or you can also send an email. Thank you so much to the crew members who worked hard to ensure that this program came your way today. Remember that next Saturday we'll be back for another round of Fides Time. Have a lovely week.